Hello, my lovelies. It's Lily here today. I'm coming to you live from my cabin on the Alaskan cruise where I'll be for the next week or so. And I just wanted to check in with you guys. I don't have live cell service, so I have to record this in advance and then upload it to you. So none of you will be able to join me live today, but I still want you to watch the video because I have some great info for you today and some food for thought, like I always want to give you. And one of the things that I was thinking about while I was on this trip was how did I want to live and what did I want to prioritize my time? Did I want to spend all of it perusing the grand buffet and going to all the restaurants because I am kind of a foodie and I love to pair food and wine. They have all kinds of cool samplings of fine whiskeys and gins and things like that, but I didn't want to get drunk or anything, but just like to taste things. So I'm going to do some things like that. And then there's some really cool shows to go to. And I really am here traveling with a friend of mine who's really healthy and into the same stuff that I like to do. So we're going to the gym together and spending time, working out separately at the gym and doing meditation, going to the sauna, and doing lots of self-care and some visits to the spa for some treatments, anything from acupuncture to massage to facials and hair and stuff like that. So the reason I'm telling you guys all this is because I see a lot of people who come on a cruise and all they're really here to do is kind of have a smorgasbord, and it's all about the eating. And in fact, this morning, my friend and I were up having coffee at the buffet table at a table in the buffet lounge, and so many people around us were eating these great big gigantic breakfasts, which we didn't want to have because we were on our way to the gym. So just a quick little cup of coffee or tea or something, and then off we went. But we were in our workout clothes, looking all cute, And by the way, let me show you guys my outfit. This is just the cutest little thing I got. Can you see it? It's like it's just little capri pants and this cute little top. So that's another fun thing about cruises. You get to get all your cruise wear together and buy some new clothes and stuff. But anyways, we were in our workout clothes and there was this group of people next to us. It was like two men and two women. And I had to look over at them and say hello because my shoe came untied and I stopped to tie it before we left. And I noticed that one of the ladies in the corner of the table she had the most wistful look on her face. Like, my friend and I looked really cute in our stuff, and we're small. We're both small, and the lady was not small. She was pretty large, as were all of the other three people at the table. And I kind of just smiled at her, and she smiled back, and I could tell she was happy for me and happy for my friend that we were small, lean sized people. But she was not happy with herself, and I could just feel it coming out of her eyes. And her face had a smile on it, but her eyes were so sad. And I remember thinking that way myself. I would be smiling like I was happy, but if you really knew me before I broke my food addiction and before I lost weight and kept it off, I was not very happy. And I was just kind of living this half life, just sort of getting by, just sort of not really feeling good in my skin, finding ways to feel good about myself, which was important, but it wasn't the same as, the way I feel now. And that's worth everything. That change is worth everything. And I just wanted to remind you guys that I know that you're still struggling, but I see a lot of people like on this cruise who put a giant plate of food ahead of their own happiness, as if somehow that's going to make them happy, or as if because it's all you can eat, they just have to eat it all. They can't leave anything uneaten because I paid for that, or, well, it's free, and oh, look at all this stuff, and oh, let's just abundanza. I'm all for abundance in life. I really do think there's plenty of everything for everyone to go around, to the point where you don't have to hoard it. You don't have to hoard it on your plate. You don't have to hoard it in your mind, and you don't have to hoard it on your body. You have so much energy stored already on your body. I mean, unless you're like down to 3% body fat, most of you can go several days, if not weeks or months, without ever having to eat again, without any negative effect to your systems. but you don't think of it that way. And there really is a difference in the way that lean people think about food. And there's a difference in the way that they eat. And it's not just because they're born that way. It's not just because, oh, their genes are like that. It might be because everybody in their family is like that, and that's the way they learned it. They learned to have smaller portions. They learned to eat less often, and they learned to, exercise more, whatever. Those are great and healthy habits that we all know about. But those people aren't dealing with a food addiction. And so they have mental ease as well. Because there's plenty of skinny people who have food addiction. And that doesn't solve your problem either. What we're talking about here is having peace of mind, having freedom from the addiction, having control over what you eat, and a good relationship with food. That is the energetic shift that we're talking about here. That is what I want you to experience. That is what I have the solution to. So whether, you have 5 pounds to lose or 50 pounds to lose, or 500 pounds to lose, wherever you're starting from, if you don't break your food addiction first, then even if you lose weight, you're still going to be living in a life of addiction. And you're still going to white knuckle your way through your days and your meals and your vacations and your cruises and your buffets and your birthday parties and your cupcakes at work, and everything else that is around you is just always going to be a constant struggle. And that struggle is utterly exhausting. It's exhausting. And nobody gets it unless they also have a food addiction too. And just like alcoholics like to group together so they can all go out and drink, and they can drink to excess, and they can do it together, and none of them has to ever really look at what they're doing and whether or not it's really a good lifestyle for them, and whether it's getting them what they want. But the morning after, when they're you're too drunk to go to work, or you're calling in sick, or missing a big meeting, or driving to work and you're still drunk, those are not things to be doing. That those things can cost you your relationships and your career, your homes, your home life, your families. So those are very destructive things. And food addictions have very similar consequences. They might not have you landing in jail. They might not have you, crashing your car, but they have definitely significant effects on your relationships with others because of your relationship with yourself. It's a very internally damaging addiction. But, if you've gained a lot of weight, maybe since you had kids and were unable to take it off, and then maybe just kept gaining and kept gaining, what has that done to your relationship? If you're married, does your spouse, have they gained weight too? Are you both, a good couple 20, 30, 50, 80 pounds higher than where you were when you got married? I mean, and did you count on that when you married that person? Did you count on yourself gaining weight and staying heavier forever? Did you count on your spouse gaining weight and staying heavier forever? I mean, maybe you love somebody enough to just look past it and not care. But I don't know. I prefer people who are healthy. I prefer to be around them, and I just think their energy is better overall. And I think that the way that they approach life is more serene, more balanced, more hopeful, more loving. They have more love to give because they're not constantly fighting this sense of unworthiness or failure or self-hatred or some kind of constant criticism of who they are every day. And I've been there. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to look in the mirror and just absolutely hate what you see. And that's not really a great way to live. And so if you want to change that, if you want to get past that, if you want to repair your relationships or start new ones or start one at all, then you have to kind of start with your relationship with yourself. And if you're not taking care of yourself on a regular basis, or if your version of taking care of yourself is to go through the drive-through or have a second helping, or sneak your candy, when no one can see you, and to live with your food addiction or just give into it. Or the gal who did my nails was pretty significantly morbidly obese, and she had a really cool and calm energy to it. And I was talking to her about this 15 pounds, that I'm always trying to lose. And she says, why don't you just make friends with it? And I thought to myself, I am friends with it. But then I thought she's probably made friends with her excess weight, but it just wasn't 15 pounds. I mean, it was more like 150 pounds. But I thought she'd probably just made friends with it. And if you can live with that, then you don't need anything else. If you're truly content with where you are, then more power to you. Go for it. But it's really a question of what you're comfortable with. Because if you're here to, break your food addiction and drop some pounds so you can look for external validation from other people, or you can feel worthy of love, or you can feel worthy of an attractive mate who loves you for who you are, and not just what you look like or what size you are. Those are things that you have to ask yourself. And if you're truly there, then you're already relaxed and feeling good. But if you're still struggling with your cravings and you're still fighting with your addiction, no matter whether you're at your ideal weight or not, you're not living a relaxed life, and you're not using your energy to do other things that you probably would like to do or could do, because you're using all of it to fight your food addiction and in fear of gaining weight. So there's two sides to some of this stuff here. I don't know which side of the coin you're on, but if you've had yo-yo dieting issues, if you've struggled with weight that comes off but then comes back, if you can lose weight for 3 weeks and stay on some kind of a restrictive program but don't seem to be able to make lasting changes, chances are really high you have an active food addiction. And there's more going on than just, going on some restrictive plan for a little while. So I'm just here to remind you guys that you can lose it, you can keep it off, and you can look at my before and after pictures, because that woman in those before pictures is me. It's me. But I look very differently now. I wear different clothes. I feel differently about myself. I walk through the world differently. I move differently. I sleep differently. I enjoy different things. And I feel more connected than ever to the person that I was inside. So I feel like now when people meet me, they meet the whole me, because my outside matches my insides. And you can walk around this cruise ship at 7:30 in the morning and you can see who's out walking or running. You can go to the gym and see who's there taking care of themselves and who's not. And I'm not saying that you have to spend your whole day in the gym or cut out, your job so you can work out for 4 hours a day. Nobody needs to spend that much time doing self-care. But when you start to like it, when you start to feel good about it, then it becomes more of a treat and more of an activity that you want to do. I like to go on my walks, and I enjoy the challenge of trying to hit my step goal for the day. And I enjoy taking the stairs instead of the escalator. And I purposely park a little farther away so I can get some extra steps in. Sometimes I hit my step goal when I'm in the middle of Home Depot or the middle of the grocery store, because I'm still moving around. So this is just sort of a free flow of thought today, free flowing from the cruise ship. And I didn't want you guys to think I'd forgotten about you. And I wish you could join me live. But for now, I want you to think about the things that I've said and think about where you are in your life. Because if you're ready to do something, you're ready to make a change, I always invite you guys to do one of two things. Take an hour, watch the free training. There's a link to it all over the place on the Facebook group. And after you watch the training, book a phone call with me. If you feel like what I was saying in the training is hitting the nail on the head, if it's describing your life, if this is what you're struggling with, then you need to find the solution, because there is one. This isn't for everyone. Not everyone is ready to do anything about it, but I'm wanting to see who's ready so that, they can make a transformation. They can make a change and they can find relief and get on the other side. So with that, I'm talking to you from the other side. There's life on the other side. It's fun. It's relaxed. It's peaceful. It feels natural. All right. I love you guys. Lily out.